About coccidiosis. You know, a lot of us must have come across the word coccidiosis before, or probably maybe you've talked or called a consultant, a veterinary doctor, or an animal scientist, and whereby when you tell them what is happening to your birds, they must have given you some clue or tell you that your birds are suffering from coccidiosis, which some of us don't really know when our birds are always suffering from coccidiosis. In this video, we are going to explain each and every one of it to you, and for you to know the strain of coccidiosis that your birds are having and how to tackle it, the treatment. So keep tuned. I know you will want to watch to the end of this video. So if you know you've not subscribed on this channel, please click on the subscribe button, click on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. Coccidiosis is a parasitic disease of the intestinal tract of animals caused by coccidian. The disease spreads from one animal to another by contact with infected feces or ingestion of infected tissue, which may become bloody in severe cases, which is the primary symptoms of coccidiosis. The infectious process is rapid within 4 to 7 days, and it's characterized by parasitic replication in host cell with extensive demand to the intestinal mucosa. Coccidiosis is a deadly disease that hampers chickens' productivity and welfare. The disease is a major menace to the global poultry industry. Coccidiosis is caused by the ampicloplesan parasite of the genus Eimeria. This Eimeria has 7 known species which affect the different parts of the intestinal tract of chicken. These Eimeria species are Acavolina, brunetti, maxima, necatrix, tenella, Praecox meatis. This disease can be transmitted via droppings from infected birds. So in other words, anywhere there is a microscopic trace of bird poo in a water or feeder or in their bedding, there is almost certainly that coccidia presence is there. Now there are some questions that people do ask. You know, some people will say, coccidiosis. How do we know that, yes, your birds are having coccidiosis without you consulting a vet, an animal scientist, or a poultry consultant? How do you know? What are the symptoms of coccidiosis? Coccidiosis symptoms are weight loss. Some of them will lose weight, and we have ruffled feathers, whereby their feathers will be very, very ruffled, depression, and at times off-color poo, bloody droppings, and inactiveness. You know, they will not be active and they will not have strength on their own, and they will also lose interest in eating, and they will drink lesser water. The most popular treatment for coccidiosis that we can use to tackle this, we have the most popular one is amprolium. But we have like 3 different treatments that one can use in tackling this coccidiosis. But the most popular that people use more is amprolium. In this video, we are going to talk about the 3 major types of medication that we can use in curing coccidiosis. And the first one we are talking of now, which is the most popular one, is the amprolium. Amprolium is the most popular one. But note, while treating coccidiosis, don't add vitamin in it. I don't advise people to add vitamin while treating coccidiosis. The reason why is because it will assist the microscopic parasite in multiplying, which will not make the treatment to be effective. So it's better you don't add it. Some of the vitamins that some of these people that produce drugs do use, we can still see like vitamin K in some of the treatments. You can see like vitamin K in it. But for you to just add pure vitamin, whereby maybe you buying something like a Vitalite and maybe different types of vitamin like that, whereby we will see whereby you have almost all vitamins in it. Adding it to it will only increase or assist the microscopic parasite in multiplying. So while using this, I don't advise you use vitamin. So if you know you've not subscribed to this channel, please help us click on the subscribe button, click on the notification bell. This will help you to get notified whenever I post a new video. So now we are talking about the first, which is the most popular medication that we use, which is the amprolium. This amprolium can be used as the treatment of coccidiosis. It can also be used as a preventive or therapeutic agent against Eimeria infection species, which are Tenella, Necatris, Acuvulina, Proactive, and some other species. Now, why using this amprolium? Some of us, the challenge we always have is that when you use amprolium product, maybe the first time when you notice coccidiosis in your birds, second time again you still notice coccidiosis, you still use the same amprolium, and probably at another week you notice coccidiosis again, you still want to use the same amprolium product. Now, I advise people to always change. We have different types of treatment, synthetic treatment that is popular that we can use in treating coccidiosis, which is amprolium, the sulfur product, and also the totrasuril product. So now we have different names for them. So all you need to do is that when you know you want to treat coccidiosis, when you get to a veterinary shop, maybe if you know you've used amprolium product before, so we can use embazine forte. Embazine forte is sulfur product. Now, why maybe you've used amprolium product before, so why changing? Maybe you want to change from amprolium your product. You may not know because of the name. So, some of us, when you buy that, when you check the content on it, if you say that it is an amprolium product and you want to now change, maybe you want to use another coccidiosis treatment, you now go ahead and buy another product which also has the same amprolium product. You have not changed that drugs. You have not changed. You're still using the same thing but different name. It's just like, let me give an example of M&B paracetamol, and we also have an Emzo paracetamol. Both of them are paracetamol. So it's just a clear example. So now if you're using the amprolium product and you want to change, it's either you change to the totrasuril product or you change to the sulfur product. So now you always check the content so you know you've changed fully. So those are some of the things. And for that, the second one now, let's talk about the totrasuril product. The totrasuril has a coccidiostatic mode of action and is active against all intracellular development stage of Eimeria species that infect poultry. Totrasuril is effective in the treatment of coccidiosis in poultry caused by different species, be it Acuvulina, be it Maxima, Brunetti, Metis, Necatris, Telena, just name it. It treats all stages of coccidiosis, both in poultry and also in turkeys. So the totrasuril is also another treatment for coccidiosis, which is very, very effective. So it is best we can also, it's either we're using the amprolium or we use the totrasuril. But the sulfur product, we have some sulfur drugs. Sulfur drugs may not save chickens several infected with coccidiosis, but properly administered, they will prevent losses. That is, at their very first stage, they will prevent losses. Maybe for you to be having huge loss of mortality or something. So at their early stage, you can also, maybe their first stage of having coccidiosis, you can use the sulfur product, because sulfur products act by destroying coccidia forms, which may be found in tree system but do not repair the tissue damage caused by the parasite. They only try to destroy the coccidia form which is building in the chicken. So when you know that, oh, maybe this is the first stage of your birds, or this is the first time you'll be experiencing coccidiosis in your birds, you can easily use the sulfur product for them. Because at the first sign of an outbreak of coccidiosis, where only few chickens show symptoms of the disease, the drugs can be used to an advantage to protect the remaining chicken in the flock. All the commonly known sulfur drugs act similarly, but there is probably some difference in degree of coccidia actions. So that is what we are talking about when it comes to coccidiosis. It's always best you come around your birds and you check their poo, check the ground, you check to confirm if the birds are stooling yellowish or bloodish poo for you to quickly treat. Not until maybe the birds are fully down before you start the treatment. So these are some of the things like this now. You can see the poo. So it is very good to always check your birds and make sure they are not suffering from coccidiosis, because this coccidiosis can make you to have lots of mortalities, whereby it will just weaken the birds, break them down, and have high rate of mortality that you do not expect. So always check their poo and confirm that they are not having coccidiosis before you vaccinate or before you give any other medication. And for those of us that normally follows vaccination schedule, or we have a program for it, even if you have this program, probably you've collected it from a consultant, a veterinary doctor, or an animal scientist, you should still always try to get people around that can also guide you, because at times your birds may fall sick having issues of coccidiosis. Maybe you may not know, and at the end of the day, probably when your program said you are going to treat an antibiotic, because this veterinary doctor that gives you that thing will not know how your environment is, how you're taking care of the environment, because at times like this, not around, if water pour on the ground or they pull in the water, or maybe the feed or whatever, if you're having issues with all those things, it may really affect your birds. And your program, maybe if your program is saying you, so as you're treating antibiotics, not knowing that your birds are suffering from coccidiosis, your birds may still be falling down, they may still be dying, whereby you may be thinking maybe the drugs or the step you're following is not working, but it is because you do not take note of the poo of the birds. You do not know that they are down. Even them, they may even be down. Your assumption will just be that, oh, I'm giving them this medication that they said I should give. I'm very sure that I'm going to see changes. And when you use it, at the end of the day, if you're not seeing changes, you may call back the person and say the drugs or the medication do not work. And all these things may not be the fault of the person that gave you the guideline. It may still be your own fault with one or two filthy mistakes that you're making. So all those things are things that we really need to take note of. Please, let's make sure we take caution. So poultry business is a business that you will enjoy if you take note of all these things.